and welcome back to the Radio Gamescast. As always, I'm your host, Ryan, and I'm joined by my lovely cohort of co-hosts, Double Alex and Wyatt.
Hello, hello.
Oh.
To be clear, there are two actual Alexes, and they aren't just one Alex that has morphed into each other.
Okay, I'll say something funky.
That would add some...
Just remember, you're never really alone.
That's your Halloween
There's
costume.
always yeast.
Your Halloween costume is playing as Alex W.
Yeah, now for Halloween you need to dress up as each other.
Oh my god. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be a crazy idea? A Halloween costume, we all dress as each other.
Go around the circle.
What would that even look like?
All right, well, this is a regular episode. We got our a whole gamut of things to talk about because we haven't done a normal we've been playing episode in a while. I've also got some PAX West stuff to go over because I had some fun demos at PAX West that I got to play. So a handful of cool things to talk about from that. I'm going to say let's jump straight into the PAX West stuff because that is the closest thing to news that we have. PAX West was it's up in Seattle every year. It's basically PAX, if any of you have ever heard of PAX East or been to it. A very similar thing, just in a different layout. They have a funky thing now where there's two buildings, which is really weird because they're not connected. They're on like two fully different blocks, and you just walk from one to the other, and you have to go through security on both sides, which is very strange.
Huh.
But there was a lot of fun stuff there.
I don't remember having to going through security at all when I went to PAX East. But that was
East is a little different. I think because East is in the actual like full-size convention center. West is like split between two. Because Seattle's convention center is a bit of a weird setup. The new building's really nice though. I could definitely see PAX just taking that building next year and not both. But to get to the demos, the important game stuff, I was only there for basically one day. I had 2 days, but half of my time was split doing other things in Seattle. So I didn't have a ton of time at the actual convention hall, but I basically went through during the hours the convention was open and was in the expo hall for those 2 days. Highlights were definitely Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Switch 2. Super good, very impressive, runs flawlessly. That's already, I think, been said by a lot of people that port is a work of magic, as apparently the Star Wars Outlaws port is.
Yeah, they got full ray tracing. They got full ray tracing working
Super
on a
impressive.
Switch 2.
Very, very good. I did play Elden Ring as well on the portable version on the PAX floor. It's rough. I would say it was a little bit better than the early reports we'd heard from Gamescom. It wasn't like super slowed down, but it was definitely, I would not pick that up on the Switch 2 as my main way of playing that game if I were playing portably. The TV mode seemed to be a lot better, but the portable mode was a little rough.
How much do you think is that Switch 2 hardware limitations or just overall?
Judging by Star Wars Outlaws, I would say it's a bad port. A rough port job. I think Outlaws is definitely showing that you can put something pretty crazy on the Switch 2.
Cyberpunk shows that you can put.
I mean, yeah, I've played Cyberpunk a ton. I've played No Man's Sky a ton.
Cyberpunk couldn't run on the PS4 when it came out, so clearly they've worked on optimization there.
Yeah, kinda. So I think there's a lot to be said about that one. It just wasn't great. There's 2 new classes though, which is very cool. You get like a class that starts with one of the light greatswords in the DLC, which is very fun because the moveset of that weapon is super good. Compared to a lot of the base game Elden Ring weapons. That was very fun. And you get another one. I didn't play this class, so I don't remember what it was, but it was like another, I think it was like a spellcastery thing. Spell Knight sort of thing. Some cool stuff there. I played Borderlands 4, also on the Switch 2, and it ran pretty well. I would say not as doom and gloomy as some of the early reports from Gearbox have been.
Yeah, that was weird.
Kind of weird.
Well, it's funny. They were like, yeah, it hits 30, but 20 in some areas.
Yeah, it didn't drop while I was playing it. And we were playing like pretty, not end game builds, but not start of the game either. The only thing I'd say is that we were in like a not super taxing area, I would guess. There wasn't a ton going on in the environment, so might have been not indicative of the final performance, but it ran pretty well. I could totally see that.
I gotta say, I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
Guess.
Not the platform I'm planning to play it on, just because I like my mouse and keyboard for shooters, but definitely fun, and I think a lot of people on the Switch 2 will be pretty happy with it. And then, yeah, there was a few other demos there. I think those were the big ones for Nintendo. I got to play Air Riders, Kirby's Air Riders.
I'm curious about Borderlands 4. My biggest concern is the quality of writing. Did you get to see any of that?
I mean, taking it in a pretty different direction from what I understand.
It was fine from what I played, but I played like basically a vault hunting sequence with a big boss at the end, so it wasn't like...
Okay, I imagine they weren't showing off.
There wasn't any important story events there, but the tone of like the quips and whatnot, and the in-mission dialogue was totally fine. Nothing stood out to me as being like obnoxious like a lot of Borderlands 3 was. So
Nick,
from
my girlfriend and I... My girlfriend and I have been playing a bit of 3, like, off and on, here and there, and we enjoy the gameplay. Like, I've always enjoyed the gameplay of 3, but good God, like, the amount of times it's just either dead silence from my girlfriend and I while we're playing, or, like, it's just not funny. It's just not funny. Like,
yeah,
we just don't know how to react to most jokes.
I mean, I'd also say, like, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands came out after 3, and I would say Tina's Wonderlands was pretty good most of the way through. There was definitely some misses there, but I think for the most part, Tiny Tina's was really funny to me.
I mean, there's some misses in 2, which I still think...
But yeah, like when you're doing comedy, you're going to make misses, and that's fine. It's just when you want the ratio to lean towards funny.
And the ratio in 3 was bad.
It was real off. That's it. Borderlands also is known...
I remember from that game.
Borderlands is also known for having like some pretty heavy-hitting story moments, especially in 2. So
yeah.
3 tried its hand at those, but I think they kind of missed the mark.
That's the most you can say, is that it tried.
It tried. It, I think, pissed people off more than it made them feel for the characters. So,
yep, 100%.
Yeah, I would much rather they go back to that Borderlands 2 direction with Borderlands 4. But it was fun. It was a good time playing through it, and I'm very excited for that to launch next week. Yeah, Kirby Air Riders, super good. Flawless, ran perfectly, no issues whatsoever. We did multiplayer matches. It was a great time. City Trial is the best mode in any game ever, and will continue to be so for all time. And yeah, I'm very excited about that one. I am a little bit... The only thing with that one that gets me is it's a full-price release, and there's only one City Trial map, which, sure, that's how the original one worked too, but I would have liked to see maybe like 1 or 2 more. Just to have some variety in those matches, because I think that's the mode most people are looking forward to. But otherwise, great time, and yeah, absolutely planning on picking that up day one. Moving on, there was one demo that this was probably the roughest thing I played at the show, outside of the Elden Ring poor performance bit, but I played Starseeker, which is the Astroneer expedition game. That got announced at, I think, Game Awards, maybe not Game Awards, but Summer Game Fest. That super cool ideas in it, but the demo that we played was so performance problem heavy. Like the whole thing was running at, I would say, pretty consistently like 15 to 20 frames and not a full 30. It was Switch? Rough. No, I don't know what it was on. I would assume this is some type of dev build somewhere. And we also have voice chat broken, and being that it was a multiplayer like squad game, and you kind of have to all work together, especially because each of you has like a special tool. Those special tools, not everyone has a way to like damage the enemies in the area unless you use them in combo. So without voice chat, you're really limited, or especially understanding what's going on. I think it won't be that big of a problem in the release game just because people kind of know what's going on. But in like a PAX floor where people only have 15 minutes with this game and have to kind of get it all at once, it was definitely a little confusing, though they did give us some very cool swag. So yeah, I'm hoping that game gets smoothed out a little bit. It was just a rough demo.
I was looking
they
forward
have a
to
while
that one.
though.
I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's just performance mostly. Like the actual gameplay was fine. It was pretty good. Like you go down to a planet and you're all trying to like do some mini objective. We had to like repair a satellite station thing, which is cool. Lots of fun stuff there. But it was running so badly, and the lack of voice chat made it really hard to tell how well that would work together. So we were just really having a rough time with that one. The actual highlight of the show for me was the Resident Evil 9 demo, which I waited in a pretty hefty line to play. It was a lot of fun going through there because you just got a bunch of Resident Evil fans chatting the whole time. It's great. when you get into that room, it's literally they put you in this room is blacked out, like you can't see in from outside, so you don't know what the demo is. And inside, they kind of made it look like the area of the game that you're in. So you've got like this red lighting overhead, just kind of making the whole area pretty spooky. And then yeah, it was a proper like horror sequence. This was definitely one of the bits of RE that leans way more on the horror side than the action side. And they also gave us the option of playing in first or third person, and that was very cool.
Oh, that's neat.
I was wanting to see how that third person worked, and it was super good. The thing that stood out to me is like I was noticing in third person, you have the game suggests playing in first person at the start is like if you want a true horror thing, go for this one. But I swapped it because I'm a classic RE. I like my third person angle person. So I was going through with third person, and they put tons of effort into the animations of Grace as you're going around. Like she has all these stages of various like stumbling on the ground and doing all the stuff that you would just never see in first person. They have all of that done in third person, so it's not like you're missing anything out. There are going to be moments with it that it seems like it swaps between first and third for cutscenes kind of interchangeably, depending on what the shot they want is. So it was pretty common that like I'd open a door, it would cut to first person as that door is opening. And then it would cut back to third person once I was through.
That's kind of a classic thing from RE1 too.
Yeah, totally. So I think it worked really well. I would say anyone who's worried about perspective, it was absolutely fine. The little demo is basically just us doing a classic small scale RE puzzle of trying to find a way to unlock a door. And there's a big monster hunting you, and the big monster this time is great. I really like it. I'm not going to go into how it works because I think it's more fun for people to play the game and see, but it's definitely feels very different than like Mr. X or Nemesis.
I just want my Resident Evil to be an escape room where some fucked up shit is coming after me.
Yeah, for sure. That's what this is. You will be very happy. And yeah, Grace as a protagonist, at least from the bit that we saw, was really good. Really like her whole, especially the voice acting is phenomenal. So very cool. This whole situation that you're putting at the start, I'm just so curious how this game's going to come together because I have no idea how this links to the trailers we've seen and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the game in general. I own pretty much every. I say pretty much every Resident Evil game. There's some that that lesser spin-off ones that I don't own, but I'm very curious to see just like plot line wise where this game goes.
Yeah, it was super good.
It looks like it's connecting back to older games that we haven't touched on in a long time, and in fact, the previous couple games haven't connected up a ton. So
yeah, I believe it's going to be going back over and like clarifying what actually happened to Raccoon City. Because it's been Raccoon City's been destroyed 3 separate ways in 3 separate RE games. So I think they're trying to finally clean that up a little bit and make it a bit clearer.
Good luck.
I think in one, it's been like it got hit by a nuke at one point. It got hit by like an aircraft missile strike. And a bunch of other stuff. Basically, there were like a handful of games that explained how that city got like detonated. In different ways, and it seems like in this one they're kind of going for like it was the central area of the city that got blown up, not the whole city, which makes sense. So yeah, excited to see that. And then yeah, I got to play a handful of other demos. Nothing that super stood out. A lot of stuff that's already very close to doorsteps. The only one I really missed out on that I wish I had had the time to do, but the line was so long the whole time that it was just not possible. Was Crimson Desert, which they had a big demo booth up. That was cycling a bunch of people, but I didn't get to play that one.
You know what impressions of it have been?
Generally, I heard people pretty happy with it. It seems like a ton of people were having fun. I think they were doing like a face painting thing there if you played the demo, because I saw a bunch of people walking around with like the face paint of the main character from there. So I think they were doing like once you play the demo, you can get the face paint of the character, which was cool.
I'm really curious to see how the game turns out. I've been kind of wary, but like it looks, if they can,
I'm excited.
The landing, it looks really, really cool.
I got to watch people play it, so I was watching the people demoing it because they had a big open demo station that you could just go look and watch. But the line itself was super huge, so I didn't get into that one. But yeah, it seemed very fun. Overall, PAX quite a lot of fun to go to. There was a number of big publishers missing, I think, just because there's not a lot of announced stuff. But we saw a lot of huge stuff. Like all the Capcom stuff was there. The one other thing at Capcom I wanted to play but didn't get a chance to was Pragmata, because they were demoing Pragmata.
They had Pragmata there?
They had Pragmata there, and it was my first choice. I got in the Pragmata line, but then the lady who was like administrating that line told me that this is the lowest she had seen the Resident Evil line the whole time.
Oh my god!
And it was probably gonna cast me. So I was like, all right, I'll go do the Resident Evil demo first.
It reminds me of when I worked as I worked at Cedar Point in Ohio as a roller coaster operator.
Yeah,
and I was on one of the like lesser rides. If anybody's a roller coaster head, I was on Rougarou, one of those ones that's next to the one that brings people into the park.
You're kid friendly, like.
I wouldn't call it kid friendly, but it wasn't one of the like big name ones.
Yeah.
But I remember we're right across from Millennium Force, which is like a big one that brings people into the park. I remember one day we had like a 45-minute line. And they had like a 15-minute line. It's almost always an hour or more for that ride. So literally in our line, we were like, go, get out of this line. Run over there. I've never seen it so low.
Yeah. That was basically what got me to go and to do the Resident Evil one, because I definitely wanted to play RE9, which I'm glad I did, because that was on Friday. On Saturday, the RE9 demo capped so early that I have no idea. Like, they were capping that line the whole day. And that's my biggest thing with PAX West this time, was just like, it seemed like every big publisher did not have enough demo setups for the amount of people that were there. And I wouldn't say it's like there weren't that many people, or there weren't that many publishers there, because there were tons of big names there. And some of them were doing okay. Like Bandai Namco had a bunch of stuff. I got to play Digimon, the new Digimon thing, and that was super fun. And they had a pretty
interesting.
Yeah, they had a pretty understandable line setup that wasn't that bad. But they also, it was just like everything else was crazy. Like the Nintendo lines were absolutely nutty. The Capcom lines were crazy. I think they were the biggest of the lot. And then Borderlands was also crazy. So it was super clear that I think most big publishers needed like double the space.
I remember going to PAX East, and like the moment we got in the door, we were basically sprinting to hit Sony before there was a line.
It was like, I've been to PAX East a couple of times. It was just like 10 years ago. So it was PAX East circa when PAX was as big as it was. It's definitely, at least East I've heard, has calmed down quite a bit compared to what it used to be, whereas West is still going strong. I think just because a lot of these publishers are on the West Coast. And so it's an easier trip. But it was pretty comparable to PAX East from when I went to it in like 2014, 2015, but there was definitely a sense of like there were more people there than they were really capable of handling at these big booths. And it's not to say that the convention center was packed. Like it definitely felt like way less people than Gen Con. So I think they definitely could have handled as many people as possible, but it just is like a weird setup. It's bizarre that they had the video game show floor in one building and then everything else in another building that's 2 blocks away. Because that felt like you need those things in the same place so that you can filter people through that expo hall and then to the like free play stuff so that they're not all crowding in the expo hall the whole time. Because what wound up happening is people were just in the expo hall until the expo hall closed, and then they would go to the other building. And so both buildings would be crowded on the opposite schedule instead of people splitting time because of the expo hall hours. So yeah, that's the biggest improvement I'd want to see, is just like put the expo hall in the same spot as the panels and everything. And yeah, speaking of panels, did get to see a few cool things with panels. There was an Outer Worlds 2 showcase that showed some weapons and stuff. That looked fun. Still looking forward to the Outer Worlds 2. I think a lot of people are and excited for that. Nothing crazy in that panel, though. It was just a lot general like weapon design discussion. The really fun one was the Helldivers 2 composer did a panel on the music of that game and like the process they used for it. Super cool panel. He got really into the weeds of everything, which was great, because it definitely went way more in depth than I was expecting a short panel to be. It was also a full room. Like this panel capped out like 20 minutes before it opened, compared to the Outer Worlds 2 one, which like I just walked into that one basically at the start time. The Helldivers one was packed as soon as I got into that area.
Which
super fun.
I will say, fun fact, I'm gonna double check my information here, but I'm pretty sure the Helldivers 2 composer is the same composer that worked on music for Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, he is. He did a bunch of music for both, and he talked a little bit about the Outlaws music too. Generally, very, very cool composer that has an absolutely awesome array of work. Super fun. So, yeah, that's the PAX stuff. It was pretty relaxed overall. I was only there for 2 days, which is probably why it felt so rushed. But I think if you were there for the full 4 days, you're not going to have as much issue as I did trying to like find demos and whatnot to play. I just hope they can do something about the crowding in those like specific lines, not like crowding overall, because it felt like the number of people was not that crazy, but the amount of like line waiting for things was way above what it should have been. All right, moving on to the next, I think, biggest news thing. Going in order what's most recent here that we're talking about. Hollow Knight Silksong came out. It just popped up.
About that, huh?
It just came out. They announced it, and then it came out. announced the release date, and then it launched like 2 weeks later.
Surprised that was such
they announced the release date 2 weeks before it launched.
It's all right. Surprise Hollow Knight Silksong. I've played about an hour of it. I went into a feverish pitch to finish Hollow Knight before playing Silksong, which I did manage to do. And yeah, I've got complicated feelings on Hollow Knight. I'll probably get into them later. But to keep it to Silksong stuff for the moment, the bit that I've played of Silksong, phenomenal. Really good. The artistic merit of that game is incredible. The sheer like level of detail that's in every single environment, and all of the animations for Hornet are crazy. There's way more just like frames in every animation here compared to base Hollow Knight. And Hollow Knight looks good. Like Hollow Knight's always been a good looking game, but Silksong is gorgeous. I would not be surprised to see Silksong, having not played much past an hour of it. I can't really judge like the greater game, but the artistic side of it, I would be super surprised if Silksong is not up for some type of award at the end of the year for its art style, because it's absolutely drop dead gorgeous.
Nice.
Yeah, with tons of hand animated cutscenes.
I do even think with just the original game, that was a huge sell on it. Like,
yeah,
we were just talking in our Discord server about how some of us, I don't want to say didn't like the original Hollow Knight. I definitely think it's a good game.
There's no one here that dislikes it, to be clear.
No, I think it's good. I'm not a huge Metroidvania fan, so that may be playing into this too. I thought it was a good game. I know I had some friends that thought it was like an incredible game. That's the difference here.
Life-changing experience.
I mean, you got a can of worms, so we might as well get into it now. I got takes on Hollow Knight.
We're a bunch of Hollow Knight haters, all of us.
Before we get too far, my point was, I think part of the reason so many people loved it is because the art style is really unique and really cool.
Yeah.
On top of it being a very good game.
Yeah. But to get to the Hollow Knight topic, so I blitzed from a fresh save file. In about 3 days, I finished based Hollow Knight to the first ending, not to past that. Although I did keep playing afterwards for quite a while, but I'm not to the other endings. Getting to the first ending, which takes about, because this was my first real playthrough of this game, I'd played about 4 or 5 hours before on a different save, but fully forgot all that and just went in on a new one. I think I beat it at 22 would have been my time, compared to, probably about 22 hours. I think I still have complicated thoughts on Hollow Knight. There's a reason I never finished it in the first point, which was just like, I'm a huge Metroidvania fan. Metroidvanias are up there with my top genres. I had not played a lot of them before I played Hollow Knight originally. I'd say Hollow Knight, I think I'd played maybe a little bit of Symphony of the Night beforehand, but never finished it. And then like Metroid Fusion were basically my only exposures to actual Metroidvanias before playing Hollow Knight. And it was just hard. Hollow Knight is a really difficult game if you've never played a platformer like that before. So I think when I was younger and when it had first come out, I just couldn't beat it. Straight up, I was just like, it's too difficult. And so I stopped playing it. Moving to now, after I've beaten every Souls game and all the Elden Ring DLC and whatnot, I would consider myself much better at video games at this point than at the time I was playing it, which helps because Hollow Knight is a difficult game. I think a lot of people that know it really well tend to forget how hard it is, and I think we're seeing that with Silksong too, because a lot of the feedback that I see about it is just people going like, "This is harder than I thought I'd be." And I'm like, Hollow Knight is one of the hardest baseline Metroidvanias.
I saw someone raging at it at a certain jumping puzzle that was. What's that really commonly used guy like sweating and furiously looking at the keyboard?
Oh yeah, and
while
you
he's
hear him
like tapping really
smacking
hard.
the keyboard
Yeah,
really loudly.
it was that sort of like.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm not a huge fan of the difficulty there. Like I said, I'm not a big Metroidvania person. I like some, like you said, Metroid Fusion and some of the like Metroidvania, like Egavania sort of games.
So
big fan, but I'm not in it for the difficulty. So like,
real quick, I didn't know Silksong was on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
I didn't know that. Okay, shit.
It's just there.
That's a good get. That's a good get for Game Pass. Shit.
And I'll reiterate, from how much I've played of it so far, it doesn't seem like you need to have played Hollow Knight to play this. It's not... Hollow Knight does have a story, but it's pretty told in the way of Dark Souls, so it's a little bit light on the actual detail. With the exception that Hornet is one of the few characters that like you meet multiple times and she speaks and whatnot, so you actually have like a through line with Hornet.
I wonder if this takes place before or after Hollow Knight.
I don't know.
Huh.
I think it's kind of ambiguous right now. They might keep it that way because of how Hollow Knight's endings work. I wouldn't be surprised if they're keeping that a little ambiguous. But yeah, playing through the entirety of Hollow Knight, the biggest issue I have with it, and I've heard this is probably still going to be a thing in Silksong, is not the difficulty, but the boss runbacks can be absolutely brutal. There are some like Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 level runbacks here. Which is really, really annoying. So I think I did end up really enjoying the combat system of Hollow Knight, but the biggest problem I had is when I kill a boss and I just have like a 2-minute walk back, even with no enemies. It's just a bit of a frustrating moment there. And also, yeah,
I really don't like boss walkbacks. That shit pisses me off. I get very impatient.
I beat a boss called the Traitor Lords in the base game, in Hollow Knight itself, not Silksong, yesterday, and that boss run back is one of the worst I've ever done. I don't know if I missed a bench. I could have missed a bench, but it's like running back through a platforming gauntlet that has enemies that you have to kill, and then you get to the boss fight, and there's like a phase beforehand with a bunch of regular enemies, which isn't hard, but because of the enemy type they're a little bit fast, so you have to like know their moveset pretty well. And then the actual fight starts, and it's just a huge hitbox. Like the guy has like hitboxes the size of the entire arena. So at least for me, the only way I really found to beat that one was just putting the thing that made my dash super long, so I could just dash through him and not take damage. Which again, baseline Hollow Knight, you can't dash through enemies. You will take damage if you do that. Contact damage is a big part. It's only when you get an upgrade super late in the game that you can dash through enemies, which is another just kind of aggravating thing about it. So yeah, at least in my view, I think Hollow Knight just is like, it leans a little bit harder than I would generally prefer it to be. Not saying that that's a bad thing necessarily, because I think there is people that love that. But I do think that's the thing, like, Silksong's getting a lot of buzz, and deservedly so, but that means a lot of people that aren't familiar with Metroidvanias are going into it not prepared for as difficult of a game as it's going to be. So I just caution people against that a little bit. Just be aware that it's a pretty hefty thing, kind of like Sekiro, where it's like, it's a really, really fun, masterfully made game, but you're going to get an experience that's pretty difficult if you're not willing to play the way the game wants you to play.
I think where we are right now is an interesting time for a fan base, because they have a game that they love that did really well, that was pretty notable when it comes to the realm of video games. Now a sequel is coming out, and it's going to attract a lot more people. And I think there's a lot of responsibility on the fans of something to be very honest with newcomers about what they're getting into. Because you can have some and we're seeing a little bit of it right now, you can have some very, like, in terms of video game discourse, violent backlash to people who are not ready for what this series is. And you're going to have a lot of people who will be very honest about what it is, and you're going to have a lot of people who are just saying like, this is the best game ever made, go play it, whether it's Silksong or the original. And it's kind of up to fans to shepherd new people into what they're getting into. And I think some fan bases do that really well. I think some fan bases don't do it as well, so it'll be really interesting to see where the Hollow Knight fan base kind of falls in with that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also going to be really curious how, because like Silksong's a big game, to my understanding. People have not finished it yet. There's very few reviews. There's probably tons of secrets in the game, knowing Hollow Knight. So I'd expect that we're not going to see like a full opinion on Silksong for a little while.
So I'm not going to be able to get my Open Critic score for a while, is what you're saying. Great, fantastic, great. No, that's awesome. No, that's actually so cool.
Give people a week, and then you'll start getting
No, that's fine. That's fine. None of my stuff is getting reviewed anyway. So
you're already losing.
Why would this?
Why does it matter?
Why would this be any different? I'm already on the floor because none of the games I picked are coming out. That's fine. It's fine. I don't care.
Jafar the Ascendant one is gonna win. So
listen, it doesn't matter. Clearly doesn't bother me.
Look,
at all.
I was just reviewing the scores. It doesn't look like I'm winning, but I want to point out I have not lost a point yet. just saying.
Sometimes you gotta take big swings.
Comparatively to last year, I'm doing significantly better.
I am eating shit this year.
I do have a lot of games that were counterpicked that will lock me into games that will not release this year, though.
That'll happen.
It is rough for publisher Fart Machine this year. We
just need reviews in before December 31st.
Listen, I just need Silksong to be good.
I don't think you gotta worry about that part. I think Silksong's very, very good. So
come on!
I wouldn't worry too much about that.
This website is gaslighting me into thinking that Jump Space isn't gonna come out this year. It's like, stop.
Well, it's releasing into early access. That's why. It's because it's not the release date's not this year. The early access release is this year. But so you're betting on the fact that it's going to get reviews while it's in early access.
We don't even know. We don't even have a release date for Metroid Prime 4, other than, I don't know, at some point.
That's true. Yeah, right now it's
this
wishes
sucks,
and prayers.
Dude. This
all right, moving on from that in the Hollow Knight talk. Why, you want to talk about No Man's Sky?
I'd love to talk about No Man's Sky. Big new update. This is a big deal. I feel like almost every No Man's Sky update is a big deal. But this one I feel like is like a No Man's Sky fan wish fulfillment that I think all of us have had for a very long time. So the gist,
it also kind of Starfield fan wish fulfillment.
Yeah, you know,
a little bit.
Most things that aren't Starfield are Starfield fan wish fulfillment.
It depends on where you lie on the whole Starfield thing. I still think it's
I still like Starfield, but
that's besides the point. Yeah. The gist of this update is that there's a new class of starship called the Corvette, which is completely customizable, like very modular. And it's a ship where you can actually walk into it and walk around the habs and everything. Outfit it with tons of different stations and all sorts of like little decals and stuff like that, and actually sit down in your chair and fly off and then get back out of your chair. And it's a very, very Starfield looking ship. The ship customization again is very Starfield, but I'd say very simplified. It's very just Lego pieces slapping things together, and as long as you have the correct components hooked up in the correct spot, you're good to go. Lots of cool little things too. I like that. I like that you can now walk out of your ship into just open space and fly around if you want to, which is pretty fun. They allow you to beam down to a planet, which feels very Star Trek, which is kind of fun, and then beam back up to your ship as well. There's new stuff around like finding ship parts buried in the different planets and stuff like that, and there's a whole economy based around it now. It's finding ship parts is kind of part of the rewards track for everything. Overall, it's a very good update. With kind of like an asterisk that I think I want to get into a little bit, because I do think, and I was talking about this a little bit when we were playing it earlier today. I do think this update shows in some ways that we are, and to be clear, I'm not an expert when it comes to engine development, so I could be completely talking BS right now, but this is kind of how it feels to me. It feels like we're beginning to reach the end of what this engine, specifically the way that No Man's Sky utilizes this engine, can do. Because while this update is really, really cool, and I will spend hours and hours and hours making different digital Lego spaceships, like that's definitely in my future. There's a lot of weird bugs and quirks with this system that feels like either A, the update should have spent a few more months in the oven to bake a little more, or B, this is just what the engine can do. And we're kind of stuck with what we got. And it's hard to say because it's such a new update. There's a lot of weird different components are clipping into each other or clipping into the actual hab of the ship. Um, lots of bizarre, like Ryan, you had two windows
I got two like
that were at a
round
90-degree
windows,
angle kind of clipping into each
and I wanted
other.
to
I was
like make
showing
an L-shaped window on my ship, and it just like they clip into each other and they barely
Yeah.
function. It's a little rough.
There's some weird bugs with like your hatch in the back not opening, just kind of weird stuff like that. I was showing that there's textures all over the place that are scaled differently at like bizarre different like sections of like a hab or something like that. So it's all there and it works, but it does feel it does feel unfinished in a sense. And right now, for me, it's hard to tell whether it's just the update was pushed out a little too early or the engine is really struggling to keep up with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it leads to a larger issue as well, something that I've thought about for a while, which is that a lot of these updates are really cool and add a lot to the game, but they also in many ways feel like their own separate entities, and I feel like a lot of the
That's for
activities
sure.
and a lot of the things that you do in this game are not centralized very well. I feel like a lot of the
I
systems don't really roll into each other really, really well.
that kind of brings me into my experience with the game. I got into it pretty. I was gonna say pretty recently, but I haven't played it in like 2 years. But relatively late after they had added on a lot
Mhm.
of these systems, and there was a lot of that, a lot going on that I was just like, what's happening here? Like, what am I running into? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just running up against another new system to discover, which is really cool. But I'm like, I'm still trying to like get a
And
handle
the
on the basics and stuff.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that there's a lot of like disparate items and materials that are used for one specific thing that can really clog up your inventory if you're kind of just hopping around and experiencing the game at your own pace rather than focusing on one specific thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
I've got kind of a gamer brain. I'm pretty aware, like, oh, clearly this is an item to doing this, this line of build a line of items to build a thing from a later expansion. But like, if I was just a casual gamer, I might find some of that pretty confusing.
like I'll fully admit, I half the time I'm playing No Man's Sky, I have a wiki next to me because I have to remind myself what certain things do. Because that's the other thing is the game doesn't always explain itself super well as to how these things work. And not in a way that's intriguing. It's more just it feels just like a frustrating lack of information at times. And so I typically have a wiki right next to me or something right next to me while I'm playing, just so I can look up like what does this thing do? How do I get to this thing? How does this work? Which can really kind of pull you out of the experience sometimes. And
Yeah.
not to say that I don't appreciate eh, what what the developers have been doing for almost 10 years. Like they've been working their fucking asses off to apologize for the way that No Man's Sky launched and everything that they
Oh,
had claimed
I
leading
really
up
think
to
it's
it.
great that they've been able to add this much. I
Yeah.
just think it's a trade-off.
Yeah. I do think it's become a bit of an unwieldy beast in many ways. And if you're
This is
willing to accept a lot of its weird quirks and eccentricities, I think there's something really, really special here for a lot of people. I've certainly gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it. But you do kind of have to play it on its terms sometimes, and sometimes its terms can be really fucking frustrating.
can I open another can of worms?
Go for it.
I'd prefer
There is the sound
booting
of
up the game and being confused by too many possibilities and systems rather than booting up a game say a famous first-person shooter science fiction franchise made by Bungie that is on its second entry that is quite lengthy, that would do something like
I'm sorry, what started you on the hate train? I'm new to I'm new to this side of you.
Look, I gave up
Not
on
that
that
I'm
game
defending
a
it
long time ago.
anymore.
I think it's a fun game. I just can't keep up with it. I get in the game and the freaking story is gone. Like, I would rather they add too many systems that are disparate and separate and fun for players rather than start cutting old systems in the name of making it simpler.
Yeah. I generally agree. I think that's part of the reason I like No Man's Sky so much is loading up No Man's Sky. No, it's a good can of worms. It's loading up No Man's Sky, and you just see so much ahead of you that you can kind of just go off and do whatever. And that, to me, is what No Man's Sky is, right? Like, that's the point of that game.
I think it works a lot better in that game than others because it's such a sandbox game to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be collecting weird alien critters.
You want to make a museum of historical bones, you can do that.
I didn't know you could. That's sick.
Yeah, there's a recent update where you basically become like an archaeologist digging up bones, and you can either sell them for a bunch of money or have them on a display or something. Like that's really where it shines, is if you have a particular interest, you can just follow on that one path, and it does become a lot more straightforward.
What are you going to do with my bones?
but it has become kind of an unwieldy beast. Like I said, there's just a lot of disparate systems and things going on that don't really connect with each other. And it's also an issue where they'll add a bunch of stuff in 1 year, which is great, but then things that they added 2 or 3 years ago, like derelict ships that really haven't been touched in 2 or 3 years or however long it's been, really need an update because they're getting stale or or whatever it is, or like the town, the settlement building stuff is kind of a nightmare to deal with sometimes.
Oh yeah, I remember that being a little cumbersome.
But god damn, I still love it though. Like it's been almost 10 years, and climbing into a ship and then flying off the planet into space and then flying to a new planet, all without loading screens. It never gets old.
Damn it, you're going to make me reinstall this game.
They don't have to format with us.
Good.
Yeah.
There is a new expedition as well, which we were playing a little bit of. Man, expeditions can be so janky sometimes.
I mean, it's really they really force you into every bug you possibly could have with a new system in the game.
Yeah.
Because of how they're designed, and I'm sure that's part of the intention, is to like hit all these things as quickly as possible. But yeah, I don't know. My biggest still issue with No Man's Sky is that expeditions aren't replayable somehow. As like a new save thing.
Because guys, I hit install.
It's so weird. It's so weird that you can't go play an old one. I get it in the case of something like the Normandy thing, where there's probably licensing involved with that. But
I think their intention is that these are kind of like their version of a battle pass, right? This is like No Man's Sky.
But it's just weird because they run them for so short. They're like 6 weeks long at the high end. That's easy to miss more than half of if you're just like busy or traveling or something. And just don't have a way to play the game at the time. So yeah, that's my biggest thing with like the expedition things. That said, they added ways to get expedition rewards from like Quicksilver vendors and whatnot within the thing, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. The rewards you get are account wide, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
But it does also highlight this other problem that I have, which is that the game has had multiplayer for quite a few years now, which is something that it didn't have at launch, and even though it was promised, and that's great. But nothing that you do with other people, even if you're doing the same mission together, you're never actually doing it together. Like even with the new update, you can add a control panel or a mission panel where you can select missions to do, and it'll assign the same mission to the rest of your squad that's in the ship with you. Cool, right? There is no way for any mission in this game for people to contribute to the same mission together. It's this weird thing that again, is this an engine limitation? I don't know, but if you're doing a mission with a friend, you have to do them separately. If your mission is to kill 10 sentinels...
I think the only ones that you do as a group are the ones from the anomaly station. work as a
I
group
think even
thing?
then, it's still separate.
Is
They
it?
they like put you into an instanced thing, but it's still separate. I'm pretty sure.
We'll have to try
I
that.
could be
'Cause
wrong,
that one might. I think that one is co-op fully. I could be wrong though.
but then why isn't that standard across everything else? It's
Yeah,
so
it's weird because
strange.
it was like Wyatt and I got into a firefight with our Corvettes. We were trying to like kill some Sentinels because that was one of the goals for the expedition. And he got his 3 kills before I got my 3 kills. I was 1 kill down for like 2 solar systems while we were jumping around.
Oh my
Until I went
god.
back down and just aggroed another one and killed it. That's one point because of that.
Yeah.
Because we just ran into a weird bug where like the Sentinels were flying too far away from my ship, so I couldn't shoot them. But they were still technically in combat, so I couldn't go anywhere. It was weird. Lots of little bugs like that have been popping up.
I genuinely think I would play this game a lot more, and I could probably convince other people to play with me a lot more if it had a more unified mission design. It feels really weird that everyone's completing missions like separately, but at the same time. It's really not that rewarding.
Yeah.
Because you don't really feel like you're contributing to a mission together. It doesn't feel like a co-op mission. It's like the
Yep.
facade of a
Yeah.
co-op.
Though we have to agree, the biggest problem right now is that you cannot put an exocraft station onto your Corvette so you can
Dude,
Titanfall. Because that's all
I
I want.
understand
I just
that
want to be able to
that's-
get in the
I
Minotaur
understand.
from my Corvette and then Titanfall onto a planet. Because we're 90%
I
of the
I
way
understand.
would not
there.
be surprised if they add that.
I understand that that is probably, again, I think it's engine limitations. I'm convinced at this point.
Vehicle
I
on
understand
top
that
of
that's
vehicle.
probably a technical nightmare. I assume that
It'd
that's
be
what
so
it is.
worth it though.
But I need it. I need that so bad. I need to be able to drop off the 4-wheeler exocraft, kind of like how the giant ships in Halo drop off the like Scorpion tank, and like how the Pelicans drop off the freaking warthogs. I need that. I need that in my life. Okay.
Yeah, I just want like my squad in the Corvette to roll up all on various exocraft and then just planet fall onto a Sentinel, one of the big like Sentinel dungeon things they have now. Do that in vehicles from the spacecraft, and then just that'd be so sick.
be great.
And we're close to it. We're so close. They just need the exocraft bay
Oh,
to work on your
and again,
station.
I'm sure working with the engine on that is probably a fucking nightmare. But I need it so bad. Sean, if you're listening, I need it so bad.
Just give it to us, please. I'm begging you. Right.
I've been complaining a lot. I do like this update a lot. I think this
It's very
class
cool.
of ship I think this class of ship is something that was missing, and it's here now, and jank and all, I am still really enjoying it, which is
It's
kind of
also
how I
fully
described.
optional, which is neat for the way the system is designed.
If you like the fighter class ships that are still in the game, it still has that, and the grind to get really good fighter class ships is still there. But it's a great option to have now. But again, it does feel very buggy and not quite polished and not quite finished. But I think that's just No Man's Sky's whole deal at this point, and it is what it is. You know.
Yep. All right. Well, that I think is the No Man's Sky discussion. We're having a lot of fun, but it definitely could use. Also, this is the other weird complaint. So this one I have to bring up because this is one of the big selling points of No Man's Sky on the Switch, and the Switch 2.
Oh yeah.
So playing No Man's Sky on Switch 2, great time. It runs near flawlessly. I've not had any issues with it, except for one, which is that it's consistently a week or more behind in updates every time there's an update, which is a problem because it's advertised for being full cross-save and cross-play, but if you have a save from a newer version, so you like play it on PC, then you pick up your Switch 2 to go play it and it downloads your save and whatnot, you then can't load it on the Switch 2 because it's a different save version.
Curious what the delay is. I wonder if it just needs a little further.
I'm sure it's like
optimization.
Nintendo certification or something.
Probably.
Like that's what it has to be, but it is a nightmare.
At that point, couldn't they just delay everything until everything's ready?
Yeah, I get why they don't want to do that because that is kind of a weird bad solve for that problem. Like this honestly feels like
They
a
don't
more of a
have to
Nintendo
tell
problem than a
anybody.
Hello Games problem. But yeah, it's super weird, especially in like live service stuff. It feels like for No Man's Sky and whatnot, hearing, oh, there's a cool update. I'm about to leave on a trip to PAX. I would love to play that on the plane and whatnot. And then it doesn't. Switch doesn't get it. So
It doesn't
it's still not
understand.
there. It's been more than a week, and Switch still does not have Voyagers, which is really crazy. Like, it's just a very strange situation, and it's also strange because Hello Games has said nothing. Like, complete silence on the matter, which is fine if it's like one day behind, but when it gets to the point of a week, it feels really weird that we're not getting any kind of like notice that it's going to be this delayed.
Because then it becomes this awkward thing of like, okay, so then do Switch users have one less week or whatever, however long less time to complete expeditions?
That's the
or
weird
do
thing,
just
is, like,
Switch users have extra time past the end date?
because the expedition's going on. It started, and Switch can't play it right now, which is really, really strange. Yeah, I'm sure there is some rush going on behind the scenes to get this out, but at the same time, it's super weird that we've hit an expedition happening and no update. Which, yeah, is really, really weird, and kind of echoes that like silence that Hello Games had for the first few times, or for like 2 years after updates, which was like people thought the game was abandoned, but no, they were doing the 2.0 update and everything. It's just super weird with Switch
which
specifically.
at the time was a good decision, because what got them in that mess in the first place was their PR. So being absolutely silent and letting the updates speak for themselves was good. This time around, it's a bit of a different situation, you know.
Yeah, I agree. All right, now actually moving on from No Man's Sky. Again, we're having a great time with the update. Hey, Alex, I got a weird one I want to talk about.
Which one?
And I'm sure you're going to have some fun stuff to say. So, you and I went through a journey of modding Morrowind.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Which I think I've mentioned. I've been getting back into Morrowind. Or not back into it. I didn't do it the first time. I never played it fully through. Because it was just before my time as a gamer.
I brought was the first time that that you played it for Game Pass when I brought it up?
No, I'd played it before. I'd tried it. I never really like committed to it. Because the thing with Morrowind is you kind of, if you don't know what you're doing, the start's really rough.
If you don't know what you're doing, you will very easily screw
and you'll
yourself
probably
over.
quit, because there's really
It does
one
not play
good
like
way to start.
Skyrim or really Oblivion at all. Still closer to Oblivion, but still, it's very hard into
The sheer fact that
like
hit chances and like spell cast
hit
failure
chance,
chances exist make it
that you need to know exactly what you want to play from the beginning. This isn't something where you can really experiment with your build or switch something up halfway through. Pick a warrior, you play a warrior all the way through.
until you get good enough at some other stuff, because eventually you will get enough skill points to like get better at stuff. But yeah, it's a interesting system, but modded Morrowind is phenomenal.
Oh my
there's
god,
like auto installers now
mainland. The mainland,
it's
Ryan.
so cool. The Tamriel Rebuilt is a crazy project. And I'd heavily recommend, hey, if you want to see what like the pinnacle of Elder Scrolls modding looks like, I would say it's Morrowind right now. Go take a look at Tamriel Rebuilt and Project Cyrodiil, because they are super, super cool. And they work really well. That's the crazy thing. Is like you can go to Skyrim in Morrowind right now. Admittedly, it's a pretty small portion of Skyrim. It's like the Karthwaystern area. But it works. It's really cool. There's full towns and quests and whatnot in that space. You can go to Anvil, and it's the kingdom of Anvil, because Morrowind modding projects tend to, the way that they delineate themselves from like Oblivion and Skyrim is they take the lore as it is at the time of like Morrowind's making, and like in Morrowind's sources only. Then they go from there to intentionally go in a really different direction with a lot of this stuff. And it means you get to go walk around like this huge city that Anvil is, where it's its own kingdom, and there's lots of little towns outside of it. Massive dock city, great arena quests, stuff like that. It's just super,
There's
super
arena
fun.
quests in Anvil?
Anvil has the wrestling arena. Like a proper wrestling style arena. It's really fun.
Oh, is that the one that you were talking about with the half health, or was that the one in...
No, that's a different one. Because there's more than one arena.
No, not Nisus.
Narcissus.
Where was... Narcissus, yeah.
Yeah. So super cool stuff and all this thing. Tamriel Rebuilt got a huge update at the end of last year called Narcissus, I think it was. I don't know if they had a different name for the update, but it was super cool. It added one of the I think the biggest Hlaalu town or city, and I think, if I'm remembering correctly, it is the largest like city that has been made for Morrowind
Oh
as a
my
mod,
gosh.
and it's super cool. At least it's part of Tamriel Rebuilt. Yeah, Grasping Fortune is what it was called. Um,
Ah.
really, really good update that has tons of cool stuff in it. Heavily recommend checking it out. Like, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'll wait for the whole project to be done." There's so many games worth of content already in Tamriel Rebuilt.
It's crazy.
You absolutely don't want to do all this on one save, so I'd heavily recommend checking it out if you're at all interested in this stuff. Mods make Morrowind way easier to play too, where it's not the mechanics no longer feel as outdated as they did if you're running with some pretty heavy mods, especially with the
Yeah.
audio installers. It just kind of updates everything to be a little bit more understandable.
Audio.
OpenMW alone showing you your hit chance can be
Oh my
enough to
gosh.
make it understandable.
Hit chance, there's like just in like general visual upgrades. Oh, you can upgrade the draw distance. Oh my god. I was very surprised to see the detail on Jib when you
Yeah,
first boot up the mod. I was like, they really allowed for more pixels
well, they brought it up a little
compared to
bit.
the basement Morrowind. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's so pretty.
I
It's
mean,
such a pretty
one of
game.
the impressive things about it too is I've run Tamriel Rebuilt with just Tamriel Rebuilt and nothing else because I have a special like modded save on my Steam Deck, which isn't the same one I use on my main PC because the Steam Deck's not quite powerful enough to run all the graphics mods that exist for Morrowind, like a generally tower PC is. But running it even without the graphics mods, OpenMW just adds a really sleek lighting engine to the game that
Yeah.
even without texture or graphics mods, it tends to make it look way better just by nature of the lighting, being little bit more accurate, a little bit more freeform, and not just completely baked in. So, yeah, a very cool system that adds tons of stuff. Heavily recommend checking it out. 'Cause there's just tons of cool things in there. If you feel like you need more Elder Scrolls, it's a good place to go to. Yeah, any highlights from your
Yeah.
playthrough, Alex?
Oh, I do gotta say, I was trying to recreate my first one, or my first playthrough. That was the mage. Um, boy howdy, mage is hard when you don't sort of cheese the game and soul trap yourself to get a little bit more stats. But I have had a wonderful time as sort of the Red Guard sword singer
Mm-hmm.
character that I'm playing now. Oh, so fun.
Yeah, I've
I
been playing like an alteration
Yeah.
Argonian warrior, and it's very fun.
Oh,
Cool, lots
huh.
of cool spell sword builds in Morrowind as well, which is very cool. All right. Well, Alex or Wyatt, you got another game you want to bring us to? Alex, I think you said you've been playing Crusader Kings.
I have been a little bit. I honestly I haven't been playing a ton of video games recently, but one I have been playing is I got back into Kings 3 a bit. I'm nowhere near like the average playtime of compared to a Crusader Kings player. um, but I've been playing it a bit recently, a few decent hours here and there. And it's I don't know, it's a really fun game. I think it's pretty unique. I haven't played much else like it because despite it kind of reminds me of like Civilization or something, but you're much more just focused on like the decisions of being a like medieval European king or whatever position you take. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I think it's really I don't I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. It's just like a really interesting and unique game. A lot of fun sort of having these family simulator elements too, because once your king dies, if they have heirs, you just keep playing as the next generation, which like can suddenly change up the way you play because
Mm-hmm.
the heir has completely different personality traits that
You can
affect
also
how he
like tutor
plays.
them to be a specific way
Exactly.
and
Yep.
whatnot.
And
Oh. Huh.
and also I my king died. I was in a great place. My king died. his son takes over. I didn't realize this as I was playing. I'm sure I could have been paying attention to it more somehow. I don't really know how. Uh, People don't like him. So my king, who was very well liked, died. His son took over. Now I'm playing as the son, and I have to be putting in a lot of work to get
Hey,
people to
that's
like
how
me.
that's how a lot of monarchies work.
Yeah.
And the thing is, my king was long lived enough that like his son, I know he's not even gonna last that long. These guys die at like 60.
It's also hilarious because like Crusader Kings I find really fun, and I played a fair amount of 3. I need to play more of the new stuff because I've heard a lot of the new stuff is really fun.
Yeah,
so, like, they have
I have
updates
not
now where you
picked
can
up
be like a
deals.
journeying knight and whatnot, and
Oh,
not
that's
a lord,
awesome.
which is super cool, and make basically like a choose your own adventure style thing, and then try to get land that way, and then work your way up
That's
from like
super
nothing.
cool sounding.
Which is very, very cool. But like a lot of the family dynamic stuff is super interesting, and it's really fascinating how Crusader Kings tries to like get you to think in the way that these monarchs probably were at the time in some of these situations that are really wild to us today, of like, oh, all these like assassinations in the family, that's not normal. And then when you're playing the game, you're like, well,
I know. I was trying to assassinate my niece last I was playing.
You're like, if I assassinate all of my cousins and nieces and nephews, then all of the land that their parents own will fall to my children, and so when I die, they'll have more land.
I started as this like Norse. I can't remember his name, probably because I can't pronounce it. It is a real historical figure, as basically everyone is in this game, except like the custom characters you can create. But there's this like Norse guy who's got land in what is now Russia. And so I start out with that guy, and like I said about my son, he becomes heir, but I had like a wife and like 4 concubines or something as the original ruler, and he had like 20 kids.
And that's a problem because your land's
and,
gonna
and
split
yeah,
to 20
originally I
people.
was like, this is great. I have all these kids, and I can like they can get married to other families, and I have like infinite alliances.
This is great.
This is how this game makes me talk. I sound like an insane person from the 13th century.
That's the point.
But then this new kid takes over, and I realize that now I'm losing all of my land because like the 3rd and 4th and 16th kids have claims over it.
You just give all
So
of them
now-
casus bellis for them to take war against
now
you.
I'm like, okay, I just gotta assassinate my niece, and then I can take back the neighboring land.
Gotta strip my son of all his titles.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Fall back
and
to
then
me.
maybe my daughter can marry her second cousin and get a title or something. It sounds insane. I feel insane.
But then you have situations
I
too,
remember
like your priest is angry that you aren't utilizing his ability to create false claims of war against another nation.
I know.
enough.
My current character, like I said, he's Norse, so he's not Catholic, thank God. Because I remember in a previous game, I'm minding my own business, and then the Pope is like, hey guys, there's a crusade on. If you don't send anybody, we're gonna be real mad.
Oh.
You're gonna get excommunicated, which is a problem.
So then I'm like, now I gotta send all my armies down to God knows where.
Did you have to send all of them?
Well, maybe not all of them, but I like, the better I did, the more I impressed the Pope, who gives me like, the more I impress the Pope, the better my situation is. And suddenly I'm here complaining to my partner at the desk behind me or something, sounding like an insane madman.
Yeah. And don't forget
Maybe
that
you
you
were
can
this whole
become the
time.
Pope, and then you have to make those
You can
decisions.
become, yeah. I saw a video recently of somebody, and this is what got me back into playing the game, no joke. Just because I was like, this is insane, and this game is insane. I gotta play more of it. This person was trying to, like, streaming, trying to eat the Pope as many times in a playthrough as possible. Because if, like, there's certain, like, your character can be a cannibal, or your religion can, like, have ritualistic cannibalism, and then if you capture the Pope, one of your options when they're imprisoned is to just eat them.
Oh my god. How many times did they manage to do it in one playthrough?
Only once.
Ah.
It's difficult to get the Pope. And also because they started with a character that was a cannibal, but then before they could ever capture the Pope, that character died, and the cannibalism genetic trait did not get passed on.
No.
So they had to spend their time reforming religion until they had ritualistic cannibalism.
Well, they couldn't breed cannibalism back into the family.
No, it's. I think theoretically yes, but I think it was faster to put in their religion. So
yeah, very
clearly
funny.
this game is insane. I feel like
the
game is simultaneously like super historical simulationist and also insane, just goofy insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, all the DLC stuff is wacky with Crusader Kings. They have tons of like very specific DLCs.
Picked up most of the DLC.
Which you don't generally need to pick these up, but some of them are really cool. Like I think the Roads of Power is the one, or Roads to Power is the one I was talking about, where it adds a whole system.
Yeah, a lot of the that's going on the wish list. Ooh, that's $30 though.
Yeah, Roads to Power and tours and tournaments make you able to like go across the continent either as a monarch or as a wandering lord or whatnot to try and like upgrade yourself to the next tier and like curry favor and all this stuff.
Yeah, that is cool. I know that like a bunch of the DLC have like expanded the map further and further east too. So there's like Cons of the Steppe, and well, this one just says Chapter 4, but it certainly looks like
Chapter 4 is the pack of
historical
this like 2
Chinese
years of DLC.
style. Yeah, okay.
You get Cons of the Steppe,
but yeah,
the Chinese.
You can get expansion. Yeah. I think a couple of years ago when I first started playing the game, it was mostly centered around Europe, and like you could go up into Russia.
That's usually how they start. They focus on like
further and
Europe.
further east.
In like Viking Age, and they move into the eastern steppes, and then like Mongolia and China.
Well, I think it would be fun to start a game like way off in like China and Mongolia, and then try to like get all the way over to become the Pope or something.
That's a super popular one. It's like that's the fun thing about these games is you can just go, hey, what if Genghis Khan wanted to become the Pope? So you run just an insane scenario of trying to like make a Mongolian empire that suddenly becomes Roman Catholics.
I'm beginning to understand that the game Reigns is just like a hyper simplified version of Crusader Kings.
Basically.
Yes.
If you've ever played Reigns is great.
There is a lot of time in Crusader Kings where I'm just sitting there kind of like waiting, and I'm like, well, what's the next, like, I don't have enough money to throw a feast or something, so let me just wait until some knights come through to hire, or, you know, my seneschal dies or something, and like, what's the next thing to come across the king's plate that needs to be taken care of? I will say, add on to, I have not done this yet, but I'm thinking I own Crusader Kings 2 and I've never touched it, and I recently learned there is somebody who has gone through the painstaking process of making a Forgotten Realms setting mod.
Oh,
I think
that's the other thing with
download that.
Tons of mods.
I think I want to download that and give it a try.
There's like a Stormlight Archive one for Crusader Kings 3 that's very fun.
I feel like it wouldn't be far off to have a Star Wars one.
Oh, I'm sure. I used to play a Star Wars mod for, I think it was the first Mountain Blade.
Mountain Blade Warband has the Star Wars
that's
mod.
What I was thinking.
That's the one.
That game has some legendary mods.
Yeah.
So I'll run through the top workshop mods for Crusader Kings 3 right now. So you've got a Game of Thrones, which adds Westeros for you to be
makes a ton of
rule
sense.
over. You've got Lord of the Rings, where you can do all your Lord of the Rings themed Crusader Kinging. You've got Elder Kings, which is of course Elder Scrolls.
Oh, that.
You've got another version of
Game
Elder
of Thrones
Kings, if you like a different version of it. You've got a bunch of like vampire, werewolf, like monster themed campaigns. You got the Stormlight one. You got a whole bunch of stuff.
There was a Napoleonic War mod that became so popular that it became its own like DLC, like official DLC.
Really?
If that's the one I'm thinking of.
For 2, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
I know one of the ones that exists.
I might be thinking of Mountain Blade.
There is a Mountain Blade. There's a Napoleonic
fucking
Mountain
ignore
Blade
me. I think
game.
I'm
Generally, if there's a mod for one of them, there's also a mod for the other, because they're related enough. I do remember there is a mod, I don't know if it still works, it might have been broken by updates, but there was a mod that for a little while you could play Crusader Kings 3, and then the battles that would happen in Crusader Kings, instead of playing them in Crusader Kings, it would load up Mountain Blade Bannerlord. And then act out the battles using Mountain Blade.
What?
That's crazy.
So you could like play both.
Insane.
Go through.
That's awesome.
Super cool. There's tons of YouTube videos of it. It looks
because
really,
there
really fun.
There really isn't any combat in Crusader Kings.
It's mostly numbers.
Yeah, I
mean,
like,
it's generally a numbers.
Yeah,
you know what's going to happen.
Do you have the bigger army? March them in there.
Or do you have a crazy general that you've trained to be like the best at warfare ever, who can like take everything over?
I've maybe only had one battle where I went, I lost that. How? Usually I'm like, oh, I have all these guys with axes, and there's some like basically peasant rabble over there. I'm just gonna
the rabble
run them over.
What a medieval king thing for you to say.
He really gets into his role.
Yep. Very cool. All right.
The game makes me say insane things that I like a person in 2025 should not say.
Yeah, there's lots of crazy stuff that happens. Another game I wanted to mention, Wyatt, is a game we put a bit of called Abyssus.
I was just going to bring that up, actually.
I figured you want to talk about that one, so I figured I'd bring it up. Yeah. You want to give the rundown of what Abyssus is?
Yeah, Abyssus is a co-op first-person shooter roguelike that feels like it was developed as a Source Engine mod in like 2010. And I mean that in the best possible way.
In the good way.
It is a very polished 2010 Source mod game, but that's what it is. That's exactly what it feels like. Like I said, first-person roguelike. It takes place... is it under the sea, technically speaking? Like in some sort of...
it's in the abyss, you know?
Yeah, so it almost has vibes of like Atlantis or something. It's these underwater structures that you're jumping around in. They kind of sometimes they look like almost like Aztec temples. Sometimes they look like bizarre, almost like biomechanical environments and stuff like that. Just what stands out to me, other than the setting, which it just looks really neat, is like the build crafting with the various upgrades. It gets wild.
That health spam build that you got going on.
It's very interesting because essentially with all of your abilities, you have like you have your primary and secondary fire. You have some sort of third ability that you can customize. Sometimes it's throwing a bomb. Sometimes it's deploying a turret. That sort of thing. You apply an aspect to each one of those abilities. So it might be like aspect of fire, aspect of blood, or aspect of lightning, or something like that. And then as you collect more upgrades, they adhere to that specific aspect for that specific ability that you have. And just the way that these abilities can combo together is like some of the most satisfying like micro build crafting that I've seen in a roguelike in a really long time. It's really, really great stuff, and things that feel like they really break the game in a way that's fun and not in a way that kind of robs your enjoyment of the mechanics otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Good enemy variety. The arenas are really well designed. It's almost like it's kind of hard to talk about because there's not much to say, not because it's bad, but because it's so straightforward but so well made. It's not going to throw anything at you that's super surprising, but it's just insanely well crafted.
Yeah, I do want to call out that like the feel of the game is really good, which is why we went to that like source mod feel. It definitely feels a little dated, but dated in the boomer shooter way of it feels really good to run through, and it's just very gameplay first. There's lots of fun abilities too, like you get turrets and whatnot you can throw, you got grenades, you got all sorts of stuff. It's
There's
very
a
like ability
giant
centric.
there's a giant ship anchor that you can use as a melee weapon
Yeah,
that
I've
sends
seen
out a
that one.
shockwave, which is sick. So much fun.
Nice.
And you've got lots of fun weapons, and they all have an alt fire, and you can tune what that alt fire is, as well as what their primary fire is, and really kind of adjust them. And this changes their model and everything, so it makes the relatively small weapon roster feel way bigger than it actually is because of how much you can tune them. Where you've got like a revolver that normally acts as sort of like a sniper shot almost with a scope, but you can change it to be more of like a rail gun, which is what I've been using it as. You've got like a assault rifle that you can adjust to be either more fast rapid fire or less fast rapid fire. You've got a shotgun with tons of different varieties of like shotgun blast attacks.
There's like a
lots of stuff.
Tesla weapon that typically has an overheat that you don't want to reach, but there are some upgrades that will give you like a giant burst of damage or something if you overheat the weapon. So it kind of makes you think differently about the gun that you picked at the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's very, very good at kind of taking its mechanics and kind of flipping it on its head.
I really like
which
how
is a lot of fun.
they have a system that's kind of similar to like Hades or other roguelites that you might have played that are like, oh, you get a choice of 3 things, and these 3 things will do an upgrade to your stuff and like change how your things work. But the system they have here is pretty intelligent in that each of the like it's like 9 or 11 or something different options for how you can upgrade like different. It's like the boon of blood or whatnot, or a boon of wind, and these all give you a different keyword ability that triggers on either your primary weapon, your alt fire, or your ability. And generally these are going to do the same thing. So like when I get the spirit one, I always know I'm going to get a meter added to my HUD that fills up as whatever ability I choose does damage, and then it will summon a bunch of like seeking spirits as an attack. So I can choose like, do I want that to be my main thing, so I'm going to stick it on my primary fire and be doing it all the time, or do I want to put it on like my grenade or something, so it's like a big blast that comes out when I need it? Or do I want to put, what I tend to do is now I put the barrier on my primary fire because it's kind of the weakest damage option. But the utility of having a barrier up is super useful because you take a lot of damage if you're not careful here. So having that be primary fire means I'm often able to take a hit and it doesn't bother me. And then I put my damage stuff on my secondary fire for whatever weapon I'm using. So I'd have like my crazy hemorrhage thing where every time I shoot my alt fire, it's going to make things take a bunch of damage based on my own health and whatnot. So super fun builds. Lots of cool stuff you can do.
Yeah. If I had any complaints, and this is mostly because I suck at video games, the bosses are bullshit.
I really like them, but
they're really well designed. There must be
they're tight.
something.
They're very tight with timing.
Yeah. The timing is very specific. There's a lot of. You may not agree with me, Ryan. I feel as though a lot of the movesets for the bosses feel as though they're designed for a top-down game, but like it feels like they're designed where you have the situational awareness of a top-down game, but it's a first-person game. Because there are bosses that are shooting out walls of damage that then push you into a lake surrounding the arena that also damages you, while also 2 or 3 different spinning pillars of damage spinning around at the same time.
Sounds like a lot of damage.
It's a lot. It's a lot to keep track
I agree with you. It is a lot to keep up with. I did solo that phase after you died.
I'm sure you
without
did,
taking
and I'm
another
so
hit.
I'm sure you did, and I'm so proud of you.
But
We're
it
all
did
so
take a
proud
lot.
of you. It's a
I do
lot.
think they're hard. I think they're. I would use kind of the same language I'd use for Hollow Knight, in that I think it's the bosses are unforgiving, and because it's a run ender when you run into them, it can be pretty harsh when you're fighting them, and then you're all of a sudden put back at the start of a run. That said, the game's pretty good about upgrades. There's tons of like ways to upgrade your own character in between runs. So you feel drastically more effective after a few runs where you get some powerful abilities under your belt. Like the ability to wear a second charm is super impactful, and just crazy stuff like that. It just allows you to.
I would say the only
That's how I feel
issue.
about gunfire. I feel like a lot of the bosses are like weird in that game.
Yeah, from what I understand, if you're a fan of Gunfire Reborn, you're probably going to enjoy this a fair bit.
Yeah,
I would
actually
say the only
Gunfire
issue.
Reborn scales a different way. Gunfire Reborn is like that game is about finding abusive scaling and making it so that you no longer care what the boss does because your weapon's so good, which is very fun in its own way. But Abyssus is far more tightly balanced, where there's not really a way to like scale your number to infinity. It's sort of, you're gonna have to pay a lot more attention the whole time, and even if you have a really effective build, it's still going to take a lot, and it's probably going to take upgrades that you get from dying to push yourself into being able to win. Like, I still haven't won a run, even after playing it quite a bit, so.
I even appreciate, like, there's not much in the way of story. It's not like Hades in the sense that there's, like, a strong story interwoven between the runs, but there are some journal entries from, like, prior
It's a really
expedition.
strong theme.
Yeah, there's some journal entries from prior, like, expeditions that range from being interesting and kind of creepy to just like funny. Like there's a straight up Claire Obscure reference, which was really cute. It's like it was like John was here, written by John or something like that.
Yep.
Just like silly little messages. There's also the best feature in the entire game. There is a sea shanty button.
It's
And
great.
not only does it sing, does your character sing a sea shanty,
It
but
syncs up.
it syncs up with the other players. So you're all playing the same. It's like in a Sea of Thieves. You're whenever you play a different instrument, all your instruments sync up. It's the same thing. Great feature. Completely unnecessary, but I love that it's there.
Yeah. It's very funny to, like, right as you go into a boss, both hit the sea shanty button and you're starting to sing the shanty as you start the boss fight. It feels very cinematic. Also, the music really good. Yeah. That's one of the other Abyssus things. It's got a great soundtrack.
Goes so hard. There's like electric guitar. There's like some organs in there. There's
the boss
choir.
themes are like straight out of Dynasty Warriors. It's great.
It gets nuts. It's not what you would expect at all, but it works really, really well.
Yeah.
This one,
very fun.
Big surprise. Big surprise. So very, just like I said, like we were talking about it. There's not a whole lot to say because it's just so well designed that it speaks for itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot to say, but not because that's a bad thing necessarily.
All right.
And it's cheap.
I got another weird one to throw out. This will be a quick one because it's in the same like roguelite vein. I've been playing an auto battler roguelite a little bit on my Switch called Nightica, which I mentioned because it's a very fun, like super cheap roguelite that's essentially you just set up tactics for your units to follow, and then they'll go do a fight, and you try to win using various methods and whatnot. It's a really fun, just like simple, very indie roguelite that you just go and have a fun time with. I've been having a great time with that. It's almost more of a shout out just because there's not a ton going on. It's a very simple game, but great to like switch. I need to kill some time.
Yeah,
play a little bit. All right. Alex or Alex, either of you got a thing you want to bring up? Wow. Neither of you plays video games.
Man,
Fake gamers.
I told you I haven't been playing a lot of video games. I got other hobbies too, you know.
Impossible.
God.
If you need to think about it, Alex, I got another one.
Can I talk any more about Warframe?
Yeah, you can talk about Warframe. We can play Warframe.
Yeah, we've been doing Warframe. I think what's the most recent activity that's been going on at the moment? It's their that's their like beach time activity.
Dog
the Dog Days event, which is pretty funny. It comes with a bunch of cosmetics, of course, and there's some cool new like posters and things like that you can get. But the main game mode for that is you are given a specified gun and melee weapon. You have a little like life preserver around you as an ephemera. You're hitting enemies with a pool noodle or shooting them with a super soaker gun. And this whole event I think canonically takes place because one of the villains that you usually fight somewhere in the star chart is experiencing a gas leak in their lair and they're hallucinating.
Yeah. It's very funny. They got the voice actor goes insane. It's very good. Yeah, good event. I also finally am now to the Coda liches, which are the new like quote unquote news from 1999 infested liches. Very fun fight where you go fight like a crazy infected boy band on on a space station run to a stadium. It's great.
I love the like not quick time events, but the dodging sequences you have to do in the stadium. Like it feels like you're dancing to the music.
It also tells me that I'm not as good at Warframe as I'd like to be. That's what those sequences tell me.
Listen, all you need is a Warframe that can just fly.
See, I don't like those Warframes. I like my Volt, which means I have to actually dodge when there's AoE stuff. But yeah, very fun fights. Warframe continues to be a really fun group game. And man, I just want more things to do Railjack type stuff.
It's Railjack is really fun.
Can't wait.
We got me into some more of those ship things. What was it? There's a specific we still need to grind for the ambassador gun blueprint at some point.
There's because we were fully doing not the right mission. We went for it the first time.
Corrupt hollow keys, which I learned were a really fun resource for melee tenet weapons, which is like the Coda Lich weapons, but they're for another
and for
faction
people that don't play Warframe, and this is a bunch of nonsense too. Coda Liches and Warframe are basically their take on a Nemesis system, where you get
I was
like
just taking a nap, really.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Damn.
No, I'm kidding. I played the game.
There's like 3 factions. You can go like fight them, and occasionally you'll have a thing that gives you an option to create a Lich, which is basically an enemy that's super strong that you need to go hunt down a bunch of things for.
And if you defeat them, well, it's like while you haven't defeated them, they can steal shit from you. They will steal resources that you win from missions and things like that. Sisters of Parvos, it's mainly money. Coda Liches, Coda Liches. I don't really think I've seen them actually steal anything.
I don't think they do. I didn't pay attention when
Kuva
steals all your shit. They take everything. It's very annoying.
And an assortment of stuff.
And then you gotta go hunt them down. They all culminate
you get a bunch
in
of fun cosmetics.
Fight. Yeah, you culminates in a big space battle. You get cosmetics, and then you can choose if you want to get them as like a crew member or you want them as a weapon. And so you'll get whatever their weapon is.
Space battles. That's cool.
Yeah, it's got full on like cruise ship space battles. You can have AI crew or real players.
Space battle stuff is so fun. It's some of the most fun content in the game, honestly. Once you have an upgraded
and then I
ship,
played a little more, and I don't know.
Well, maybe you just aren't playing it with the right people.
You know what's funny?
Maybe you could use a little group.
That's very true.
Roll up with the squad.
You know what's funny about Warframe? I feel like every time you guys talk about it, there's like tons of different types of content, right? Mm-hmm. When you guys talk about it, I don't immediately know that you're talking about Warframe because it sounds like you're talking about a different game.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the point.
See, that's where I'm at with the game, is that I don't think I've unlocked most of this content. So I play the game and I'm like, yeah, this is the same shit I played 10 years ago.
Sometimes with the Warframe stuff, I'm talking about like different game modes and things like that. Sometimes I will boot up the game and I will go into the 1999 world area and I will just play the defense mission because it's a concert that you're going to and you're defending this rocker person. And
you're defending
Nine Inch Nails wrote a song for that DLC. Yeah. That's cool as hell.
It's and the music is just so fun. And then every few waves, the enemy will over the intercom say, "Send in the screamer." And also,
I love that you said that as if there was a build up to something afterwards. What? And there was not a build up to a thing afterwards.
What does that mean?
No, but I will say, I believe Neil. Oh God, what's his name? The voice actor for Asterion.
Neil Newman.
Neil Newman. I think he voices 2 or 3 characters in Warframe.
He's the fish in the caveat.
He is a fish with a giant head and nose. He is a very greasy paramilitary man in 1999.
Just make sure if Alex is getting any of this wrong to leave comments saying that all British people are the same, so it doesn't matter, because that's what we've learned from Alex's voice actor guesses.
It's a common problem with Alex. Common misunderstanding.
Is he anyone else in Warframe? I don't think
Do you want to commit to another person without knowing for sure?
No, but I'm fact
Your
checking
chances.
myself.
I was gonna say you can bring up
right now.
IMDb now and pretend like you didn't. We can't see you.
Yeah. You can hide it. Yeah, Warframe continues to be very fun. All right, Wyatt, what's your thing you wanted to mention?
Yeah, so Battlefield 6, ton of fun.
Very good. Can't wait for the
Been
release.
can't wait for the release, been trying to scratch that itch. So I've been going back. First I started playing Battlefield 1 because that's my personal favorite, but I've been kind of trying all of them, trying a little bit of everything. Which means I've had multiple Battlefield games installed on my computer at once, and it was a very strange experience. But yeah, one has always been my favorite. I love the cinematic quality of Battlefield 1 a lot. I think the setting's very interesting. It has some of my favorite maps in the entire franchise. I love that the setting just creates bizarre weapons and use cases for things that you don't see in other Battlefield games. Like you can't just run around with a rocket launcher in Battlefield 1. It's this giant thing that you have to set up on a tripod. So either you have to be in like a trench somewhere or you have to be prone to set up this like rocket launcher essentially. It's just super interesting. Or like giant anti-tank grenades that look like just a bunch of C4 wrapped around a stick that you have to huck at someone. It's great. Um and again, the cinematic quality of this game, I feel like isn't really matched in other Battlefield games. I think 5 tried, and it didn't replicate it nearly as well. The music is incredible. It's so well done, and the way bless you, and the way that it like just accentuates moments in a match. Like I've in a multiplayer game, there have been very few moments where I've shit my pants more than when I'm on the defending team, and you just see on the screen attackers advancing, and then you just hear this drum, and a bunch of people are like running over
Oh my.
like the mountains of like Monte Grappa, and everyone's yelling. It's terrifying. It's so much fun, and it's the same thing
Maybe
if
want
you're
to
like
reinstall this game too.
if you're attacking and you're trying to keep your momentum going, there's people yelling run run, there's like battle whistles going, and there's just this like triumphant music that's just rushing you towards the next objective. It's so exhilarating, and it's great. I love operations, and it has this like almost like war documentary feel to it, where they try and recreate real battles that happened during the First World War. And if one side wins, that's the side that won in history. It explains like the ramifications of that throughout the rest of the war and what that meant in the overall like in the grand scheme of things. But if the other side won, it tries to like think about how that would affect the end of the war and how that would have changed it. It's just so interesting. It's so cool.
I do really enjoy history lessons in games.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it a lot when they did it in Age of Empires 4. It was like this like documentary. It had like a similar vibe to it. It was really interesting.
Yeah, very cool.
From there I did try and play a bit of 4. 4's got the weird punk buster thing where if you don't dig into the game's files, it will kick you after like 5 minutes in any match. It's real weird. I
haven't had that, but it's been a long time since I played it.
It's weird, and I don't want to deal with it, quite frankly. I don't care enough.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking about 5. Nope. Yep, I had that with 4.
I did go back and play 5. Now, I know 5 is a hotly debated game. Pissed a lot of people off. I think 5 was onto something, because you go back and you play 6, and then you go to 5, there is a shocking amount of overlap between what 5 was doing and what 6 is trying to do right now.
I kind of agree with you, but I feel like 5 needed a little more cook time.
100%. It's a mess. It is a mess. Especially the menus to this day are terrible. They only work about 50% of the time. They're awful, just terrible. But man, the movement in 5 feels so good. The maps are probably they may not be the best designed maps, but in terms of atmosphere, There's a good crop of maps from 5 that I like quite a bit. Some of them are terrible. That map in the snowy mountains is terrible. I hate it so much. It's just like a bunch of
Is that one
lanes.
that's like half inside? No, I know what the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that one
like
sucks.
it's like a bunch of lanes with like a few buildings here and there. It's terrible.
It's mostly just you come across over a hill and get shot by 16 dudes.
Yeah,
How
it's
fun.
terrible. It's just awful. And then there's it fucking sucks. But like then there's maps like Twisted
meat grinder.
There's maps like Twisted Steel, which is great. It's this giant lush countryside. There's a giant bridge overhead, but like half the bridge is fallen in, so you can like kind of crawl up the bridge. It looks really cool. Like I said, the movement is great. The squad mechanics are the best in the entire series. There's no dragging, unfortunately, but all of the squad mates can heal each other.
The healing is a little bit different as a support in that game too, if I remember right. You could kind of throw out little like packets of health. I kind of enjoyed that as somebody who in most of these games
that's sort of how 6
the
works.
fact that I could
No, it's neat because in other games there are packets that you can throw out at people if they need healing. But the cool thing about 5 is that if you're full health and someone throws you a health pack, you can hold on to it, and there's a dedicated button to use it when you want to use it. It's so cool. So many cool things. I love building the sandbags and the little forts and everything. So like you can come in and wipe everything out and build it back up again. Oh.
I feel like there was some well, just going off that support thing is like I liked being able to run through the battlefield as support and just like be throwing like these little health packs towards people like save this for later. Oh, you need that now. Actually, you need 2.
Yeah.
But there was I don't know. It was simultaneously a game that I enjoyed a lot of aspects of and then like for some reason didn't like as much as some of the other ones. I'm not sure I can quite put my finger on why.
I mean, there's a lot of issues too. Like, again, there are some maps in there that are just terrible. They have a version of Operation Locker, and I hate every iteration of that godforsaken map. It's terrible. It's like Nuketown, but not nearly as much fun and stupid. It's just bad. And I hate every single iteration.
That's the one I was thinking of when you said the snowy one.
Yeah, it's the snowy one kind of dips into that a little bit. The way that they tried to do the whole like live service aspect of it is a complete mess. Because it really forces you into playing specific roles when it may not suit what's needed on the battlefield at the time. It really just doesn't work for this kind of game. You would really need to do it in a way where every class has their own like mini battle pass, but that just gets really complicated. It's a mess. I feel like Battlefield just doesn't really fit a live service all that well, just with the way that its classes are balanced and designed.
At least not like the loot box live service thing that they've tried, and like that in Battlefront, it just didn't work very well.
It was even in Battlefield 1, and it sucks. Like there are people like me who have put hundreds of hours into that game and haven't unlocked a single like puzzle because there's like puzzle pieces that you have to like that you come across or that you buy so that you build weapon. It sucks. It's stupid. Yeah, it's all a mess. But when you're just in there and you're playing it, it's like my favorite Battlefield game of all time when you're just in there and playing it. But between matches, it just like completely falls
apart. Also just I think it shows why the matchmaking button is a good thing. Just having the ability to quick match. We're like, why didn't I try to play this together? And it took like we couldn't get in a party. We then managed to get in a party, but it didn't bring us both into the same server, so we had to go hunt the server down and both join it. And stuff like that is just very frustrating to deal with when you're trying to play the game together. Which is why I'm very excited for 6 to have that a much smoother time.
I did play a bit of 2042.
I still can't even get 2042 to turn on. Like, regardless of the quality of the game, it just won't turn on my computer. It's the only game that does this.
I think now, in its current state, it's okay. I think there are much better Battlefield games to play. I think you should just go play BattleBit instead. But it is on Game Pass, and there are cool things in it that you can't really get in other Battlefield games. There's a character that uses a wingsuit, and you can activate her wingsuit when there's a tornado coming in and like circle around the tornado and fly like halfway, like all the way across the map if you wanted to, which is kind of neat. There's a really cool map where you're fighting on top of giant chunks of like glaciers, but then there's also the bottom part of the map, which is at like the base of the glaciers, and so you can like zip line across them or zip line up on top of them, which is a pretty cool idea for a map. I think there's positive things about it, but the open weapons I'm not a fan of. The obnoxious operators are just not really what I want in a Battlefield game. The actual shooting feels kind of strange. It feels like there's no damage drop off. And so a lot of times you can just like snipe people with assault rifles from like halfway across the map if you know what you're doing. Um, it's okay. You know, nothing to write home about, but it's all right.
All right. Well,
I
Alex, you got a comment?
No, if you were looking for another game to talk about, I have.
No, I'm gonna end us. We're at time. So.
Oh, you're right.
Oh wow.
You keep your
If
opinion
you
to
got a
yourself,
comment,
Alex.
you gotta say it now. This is not. There's no more time.
I've been playing. I forgot. I'd been playing Cyberpunk 2077 again.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been super into tabletop RPGs lately, so it's also got me thinking like maybe someday I'll run a campaign of that.
Hell yeah.
I own a ton of the supplements for the old Cyberpunk 2020. So
Very fun. Switch 2 port of Cyberpunk, very good as well. I played a fair bit of it on that. That's a great time. All right. So that's the end of the normal episode. So jump into shoutouts. Who's got a shoutout they want to give?
I'll go. I'll start. I'm going to do a mini shout out inside of my regular shout out. Been reading Helen of Windhorn. This book is amazing. It's got more incredible artwork by I'm going to butcher her name and I apologize. Bilquis Everly. Don't know how to pronounce it. One of the most talented artists I've ever seen. This is probably horribly out of focus and I apologize, but just
every time I see one of her pages, I just have to think,
Oh,
like,
God,
how long did this take?
oh God, they're stunning. They're beautiful. And Tom King's writing, it's so good. So good. But what I did really want to shout out was I just got back from a vacation with my girlfriend, and one of the places we went to visit was the Fairbanks Museum in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and it's so cool. It's kind of a little bit of everything. A lot of it is like animals from around the world, so like a lot of taxidermy animals that you can look at through shelves and stuff. But then it just has random sections on like fossils and bugs and like science and like hands-on fun little like science displays and stuff. They even had like a full almost like IMAX style theater where it was talking about like butterflies and the entire like life cycle of a butterfly, which was really neat. But then the coolest part, and I wanted to post pictures and I can't find where I stored them, but they had moldings of what an ant colony looks like. So they basically took an ant hill and I think they poured in, I think it was aluminum or something, and filled out the entire ant farm and hung them up on wires so you can see the designs of all these different ant colonies. And it looks so freaking cool. That trip was such a blast. that whole museum was so cool.
Very cool. All right. Well, I got something. My one PAX pickup that I'm very happy with is this guy, a snack box micro, which is a good old fashioned like fight pad like that. So this is a wacky thing called a leverless controller, which I've not used before. I've used levered controllers for actual fight sticks plenty of times for fighting games. The idea with this is you have more precise inputs by just having the buttons instead of the lever, so you can do things just a little bit smoother and faster and a little bit more precisely. And I get it now after having used this for like a week. I think people are right when they say you just have a cleaner time with one of these because you can't really, you know exactly what you're inputting. So if you mess it up, you know what you did wrong. Whereas on a fight stick, sometimes you just push it in a direction that you don't like, or on like a D-pad, it might be fiddly and you're overshooting.
I've definitely hit like an odd angle.
Yeah, so
I think
definitely
I'm pressing to the right or whatever, you know.
Super fast. I need to get better at using it because it's definitely there's some learning curve with being able to hit the combos fast enough to get everything linked together correctly. But that's as with any fight stick setup, it's going to take some time. But overall, it's a super fun thing. Very cool. They were just at PAX as a booth selling stuff and had these. And they also have a thing called the Swirl, which is a very interesting controller in that it's one of these, but instead of this layout, it's got like all these buttons on this side, and then it has WASD right here. and then it's got two like thumbsticks on the bottom. So you like lay your hand over the thumbsticks.
Awesome.
So it's got every button that you'd have on a controller, and you can play like whatever you want with it. It's just a very different layout. It's almost like a keyboard but with thumbsticks. And so they had like Elden Ring set up that you can play with it. Very cool. They're pretty pricey. They're the same price as the Fight Stick, but they're also. I wouldn't play fighting games on them just because the layout is a little confusing. Because something interesting about these is you'll notice that like when I'm moving around, I only have 3 buttons here. I need to go up as well. So how do I do that? It's this guy on the bottom. Goes up.
Oh, that.
So
I mean, I guess that feels good for like a jump button near
for
the
a
thumb,
fighting
but...
game, it's there specifically because you don't need that button as much. Like it's a much more deliberate action to press it when it's there. So I have adapted to it. It definitely feels wacky that like if I'm pressing this, I'm going down. Like that's not an up button; it's a down button. But it is very nice that when I'm pressing those, I don't have to like dodge my finger between up and down, like you would if you're trying to do some charge motion or something on a certain character. So it definitely feels very cool. I think it works really well. Snackbox still making good controllers. It's by Junk Food Arcade. It's the place, which is they had like custom artists there doing these as well. They're like printed artwork. All right, Alex or Alex, who's up?
Dave. Oh, sorry.
Nope. Go ahead. I can finish.
Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion. It is such a fun anime
Alex,
game.
you gotta tell me if you pick it up so we can play some. Because I've been playing it. It's very good.
I will the next time I get paid.
Yeah, nice. Valid answer.
All right, I got some stuff I picked up because I got paid.
Way to rub it in Alex's face, damn.
Well, they've been
I love the gig economy. I love the gig economy.
I picked up a couple of comics for the comic book store that've been waiting for me. I got the new. Hold on, let me turn off this.
That was blurred like it was something inappropriate. What are you showing us, Alex?
You know,
smut.
That's
on 001.
All right, we got the new Batman #1, which was super good.
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah.
Really excited for the rest of it. They got the new Batman design. Like
they got the gray and blue.
It's gray and blue, but plus sort of like a more modern design. Really excited for this. Matt Fraction is writing it. He wrote my favorite Hawkeye series, which is one of my all-time favorite comics. So very excited with where this is going. I will give the most minor of spoilers is I cannot believe they let there be a Batman #1 and nobody said that only 4 panels of action is too little action for it. But
he's the greatest detective. You can't expect him to be kicking and punching all the time.
I loved it because there's more time to be moody. The other thing I picked up, I have not read this issue yet, but new issue of Savage Sword of Conan. Awesome cover by Mike Mignola with the dog with the hat on it. This one, before I show off a page, I will have to preview because this one occasionally has nudity.
Sold.
I'll just pick a random page.
To the corridor of goons with you.
It's all it's more like a magazine format. It's a little bit pulpier pages and all in like black and white and stuff, but it's a thick book. I've been enjoying picking them up. They're all based on Robert E. Howard's primarily Conan works, but then usually there's a backup with another one of the sort of pulp characters that Robert E. Howard has wrote, and that's why the cover here has this like guy and a wife beater, because the backup here is Sailor Steve Costigan in the Snakeskin Shuffle, which is somehow tying into the
I don't know how to take the Snakeskin Shuffle, but it sounds interesting.
It somehow ties into the there's like a serpent themed event going on with all the Conan comics right now.
With you saying Sailor Steve Costigan, my immediate first thought was him in a Sailor Moon uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Come on, you gotta think like this was written in the 30s.
Alex, what do you got?
Didn't he already go?
I did.
Oh, you did. I
I
mixed
shout
it
out
up.
Damon Ex Machina.
Man, you always forget Alex.
No, it's because Alex said something, and then other Alex also said something, and then they went back the other direction. I was like, wait a minute, am I forgetting someone?
The flip-flop. What do you mean you
Yeah,
can't
our
tell us
fifth
apart,
member.
Ryan?
Anyway,
We're
that's the
only
end of the
twins.
show. We're done. It's it. Go find it somewhere else.
Get us out of here. Get us out of here.
Tuesdays, podcast before your choice to Twitch. Like and subscribe, leave comments on Spotify or whatever. I think it's got that.
Can you comment on
I
Spotify?
don't know.
Yeah, they added
Probably.
a thing.
Ew.